Okay, so today we're diving deep into the extraordinary world of Warren Buffett. Everyone knows him as the Oracle of Omaha.
Right, the ultimate investor role model for so many people globally.
Exactly. But you have to wonder, beneath all the headlines, is his incredible wealth really just about picking stocks? Or is there, a much richer, maybe deeper story there?
Well, that's exactly what this deep dive is all about. We're really going on an expedition, sort of, to uncover those lesser-known investments, the pivotal strategic decisions Buffett made
Throughout his life.
throughout his whole life, starting from, an incredibly young age. These are the things that truly paved his path, to becoming one of the wealthiest, most respected businessmen anywhere.
So we're moving beyond the simple narrative.
Yeah, forget the simple buy low, sell high stuff for a minute.
Yeah.
We're trying to understand the intricate how. How did he actually build that immense fortune?
Okay, so our mission for you, the listener, today is to, pull back the curtain on some surprising facts, those pivotal moments in Buffett's journey, hopefully helping you grasp the real strategic genius behind the legend.
Sounds good.
So, to really get the legend, we need to start at the beginning, right? Back in his earliest years.
Makes sense.
Warren Edward Buffett, born in Omaha, Nebraska, 1930, and the sources, they paint this picture of him as a mathematical prodigy, even as a kid.
Yeah, apparently adding up big columns of numbers in his head. Stuff like that.
Which, isn't just a party trick. It feels like a foundational skill, doesn't it? But let him see financial stuff, valuations, almost instinctively. Set him apart early on.
Definitely gave him an edge.
And then there's that story, almost mythical, you hear about him telling a friend.
It was the millionaire declaration.
Yeah. That if he wasn't a millionaire by age 30, he'd jump off Omaha's tallest building. Allegedly, of course.
Right, alleged. But still, for kids to even think that, let alone say it.
It's extraordinary. What does that tell us about his ambition, his drive, even then?
It speaks volumes, I think, about this intrinsic, almost competitive drive. It clearly defined him right from the start.
Yeah.
And, that drive, it wasn't just talk. It turned into action really fast.
Like his first investment, he was super young.
Incredibly young, age 11. He buys 3 shares of Citi Service Preferred. Stock was at $38 a share.
Okay.
He sold them pretty quickly, made a small profit at $40. But later, he always talked about this. It was his first big lesson in patience.
Because the stock
Eventually soared, went up to like $200 a share.
Yeah.
So yeah, he made a quick buck, but missed out on a much bigger fortune.
Ouch. That's a powerful lesson for an 11-year-old. Probably frustrating.
You bet. Long-term vision, right. Learned early.
So patience was lesson number 1, learn the hard way. But it seems like he didn't just sit back after that. His entrepreneurial thing really kicked in soon after, didn't it?
Oh yeah, he wasted zero time. By 13, his entrepreneurial spirit was just in full swing. He was a paper boy.
For the Washington Post, right? Getting up super early.
Yeah, 4:30 a.m. starts. And he wasn't just delivering papers, he was also selling magazine subscriptions, calendars, that kind of thing.
Hustling.
Totally. And what's really amazing is by the time he was 15, he'd saved up $2,000 from all this.
Which today is quite a lot.
It's about $26,000 in today's money. For a 15-year-old, that's not just pocket change. That was serious capital.
That is a significant sum.
Yeah.
So the big question is, what did he do with it? Most kids would, buy a car or something.
And this is where you see the Buffett mindset already forming. He didn't just save it or spend it. He put $1,200 of that paper route money into a 40-acre farm.
A farm, seriously.
Yep. Got a profit-sharing deal with a Nebraska farmer. It shows this innate understanding of diverse income streams, passive income.
Wow.
He was making his money work for him before he could even legally drive, strategically building.
That's incredible. Early asset allocation right there. And then, okay, the pinball machines, that's a classic story.
Right. He's 17, still in high school, sophomore, I think.
Yeah.
Teams up with a friend. They buy a used pinball machine for $25.
$25?
Put it in a local barber shop. And within months, they owned several machines around Omaha, making about $25 a week.
Which was pretty good money for a high school kid then.
Fantastic money. And then they sold the whole business for $1,200 to a war veteran.
It's a fun story, but what's the deeper lesson from the paper route, the farm, the pinballs, all these early things?
I think the big takeaway, the pattern you see, is that Buffett was never afraid to, roll up his sleeves. He bravely went after all sorts of different business opportunities.
Right.
And crucially, these weren't just jobs to get spending money. They were like calculated steps designed specifically to generate capital so he could invest it later. It shows that foundational principle he stuck with his whole life, actively, relentlessly pursuing capital generation, building that war chest, for strategic use down the line.
Building a war chest from day one. That's really insightful. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. His formal education, he goes to the University of Nebraska, gets his degree.
Bachelor of Science, yep.
And then, maybe surprising to some people, he applies to Harvard Business School.
Yeah.
And gets rejected.
Yeah, imagine that. Rejected from Harvard.
How did that affect him? Did that setback shape things?
Well, it seems like instead of being a deterrent, it actually became this pivotal redirect. He found out that Benjamin Graham, his kind of intellectual hero, his future mentor, was teaching at Columbia Business School.
So he went there instead.
Deliberately chose Columbia because Graham was there. Graduated with a master's in economics in '51. It really highlights that theme again. He was strategically chasing specific knowledge, specific mentorship. It wasn't about the fancy name on the door.
Substance over status. Makes sense.
He went where the real wisdom was for him.
Okay, so after Columbia in 1952, he heads back to Omaha, works as a stockbroker for a bit.
Right.
And interestingly, he took a Dale Carnegie public speaking course. Used those skills teaching night classes at the University of Nebraska. But eventually, his path led back to Graham, didn't it?
It did. In '54, he moves to New York, gets a job working directly for Benjamin Graham's partnership.
For good money at the time.
Started at $12,000 a year, which, today that's like $109,000. Pretty solid.
But Graham didn't stay in the game forever.
No. Graham retired and closed his partnership in 1956. So Buffett was kind of at a crossroads, had to figure out his own path. But the key thing to realize is, by this point, Buffett had already saved up a pretty significant amount himself.
He certainly had. The sources say by '56, his personal savings were over $174,000.
Which today is about, what, $1.5 million?
Yeah, roughly $1.5 million. And here's a detail that I think just speaks volumes about him, his character, his approach.
The house.
The house. Despite being well on his way to millions, he decides to settle back in Omaha. Buys a pretty modest house for $31,500. And the sources even say he found that price hard to swallow. It's almost ironic, isn't it?
It really is. A guy heading towards millions, sweating a $31,500 house price.
Makes you wonder if that frugal mindset was just like baked in, a key part of his success, or maybe almost a compulsion.
It's a fascinating psychological point, isn't it? Accumulation versus spending. Anyway, this leads us right to a truly crucial step. 1956. He starts the Buffett partnership.
With friends and family.
Exactly. And it had some really unique conditions. He asked one partner, a doctor, to find 10 other doctors who'd each invest $10,000.
Did they?
11 of them actually agreed. But here's the really brilliant part, strategically speaking. Buffett himself only put in $100 of his own cash initially.
Only $100.
Yeah. But, and this is key, he decided to reinvest all his management fees back into the partnership to grow his own stake.
So he wasn't taking cash out, he was compounding his ownership.
Precisely. It wasn't just about pooling other people's money, it was a powerful way to dramatically increase his personal share without needing tons of upfront capital. Very clever.
So again, it's not just about saving money. It's a deliberate strategy. Accumulation, reinvestment, long-term vision. He lived it from the start. And this partnership model, it worked fast.
Oh, incredibly fast. By 1960, he'd opened, I think, 7 partnerships in total, had a 9.5% stake in over $1 million of assets across them.
Wow.
And then by 1962, Warren Buffett officially became a millionaire, directly because of these partnerships. Their assets were over $7 million by then, and more than $1 million of that was his.
So that's how he hit the first million.
That's how he then merged them all into a single entity, consolidated his capital, his control, really scaling up his ability to pool and manage money, laying the groundwork for, well, the empire.
And that empire began, kind of ironically, with something Buffett himself called his worst ever acquisition.
Right, Berkshire Hathaway.
1962. Now, everyone knows the name today, obviously, but back then, it was a totally different beast.
Completely different. A New England textile company.
Yeah.
Started way back in the 1830s. And by the 60s, it was clearly past its prime, losing money.
So why? Why would this budding financial genius buy into a failing textile mill? What was he thinking?
Well, His initial thinking, grounded in his value investing roots with Graham, was that the company's problems were down to bad management.
He thought he could fix it.
He saw underlying assets he thought were undervalued. He got into a dispute with the leadership and started buying shares aggressively, thinking, yeah, he could turn it around.
But he couldn't.
Nope. The business just kept losing money. By 1966, it was pretty clear the textile giants', golden glory days were well and truly over. It really shows that even geniuses make missteps, or at least initial misjudgments.
Okay, so the textile business is bleeding money. For most people, that's a disaster. Sell it off, cut your losses. But for Buffett,
it sparked this radical strategic rethink.
it's a pivot.
What did he see? How did he turn it around? Because he did turn it around. Massively.
This is where the real genius, the visionary move comes in. Instead of just trying to fix the dying textile business or pouring more good money after bad.
Yeah. He started using Berkshire Hathaway itself, the company structure, as a holding company. Like a shell, almost.
To do what?
To acquire and invest in other, more promising businesses. It raises that fascinating question. How do you take a failing asset, a sinking ship, and turn it into the foundation of a global empire?
Okay, so Berkshire becomes the vehicle, and the real turning point was it insurance.
Exactly. 1967. Berkshire finally had enough capital scraped together to buy its first 2 insurance companies, and that was just the beginning of many, many more insurance acquisitions.
Why insurance? What was so brilliant about that move specifically?
Okay, unpacking the strategy, it's really quite elegant. Buffett saw that insurance companies take in money upfront premiums from policyholders, right?
Right.
But they don't pay it all out immediately in claims. There's a lag. So they hold on to this huge pool of cash. It's often called float.
Float.
And the critical thing about this float for Buffett was that it was essentially interest-free capital, money he could hold and, crucially, use to fund more acquisitions, more investments, without having to borrow or dilute Berkshire's ownership.
Wow. So the insurance companies became a cash machine to buy other things.
That was the engine. That's what really propelled Berkshire Hathaway's phenomenal success. It wasn't just buying good companies. It was this incredibly clever use of capital generated by the insurance side. Strategic leverage.
And look where it led. Fast forward to today. Berkshire Hathaway manages what? A portfolio of over 1,000 companies.
Over 1,000 companies.
Yeah.
Total assets north of $700 billion. It's just staggering. And it all traces back to that pivot, turning a failing textile mill into this investment powerhouse.
Incredible.
And that maneuver, it really illustrates a crucial lesson, I think, about business transformation, about creatively leveraging capital. For you, the listener, it's about looking beyond an apparent failure. Could there be hidden strengths, hidden cash flows? Can you repurpose something that looks like a lost cause? It's not just what you buy.
It's how you use it.
Exactly. How you use the assets and the cash flow you acquire.
So Buffett officially hits billionaire status in 1990. That's around when Berkshire started selling its Class A shares, right?
Correct. That milestone year. But his legacy, clearly, it's not just about piling up personal wealth.
Yeah, absolutely. He's become hugely known for his philanthropy, too.
Hugely. I mean, one of the most famous examples is his massive donation to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. He gave, 185 million shares of Berkshire Hathaway stock.
This is worth.
At the time, worth an unbelievable $28.3 billion. It just shows this profound commitment to having an impact beyond himself, leveraging his fortune for global good.
Absolutely. His current net worth, still astronomical, over $84 billion. But what's the man himself like? The Oracle. He doesn't really fit that, slick corporate titan image, does he?
No, not at all. That's what's so striking. Physically, people often describe him as, unremarkable, kind of a grandfatherly look, right? Not some imposing magnate.
Yeah.
But intellectually, unrivaled. Considered an absolute genius in his field. And it seems his personality, that simple, straightforward, honest way he has, plus the wit, the charm that's really captivated people worldwide.
He seems very down to earth in interviews.
Exactly. And while it's easy to kind of mythologize him, the sources really emphasize. Warren Buffett, at heart, is just a person who found what he truly loved doing at a really early age.
And just kept doing it.
And just relentlessly stuck with it his entire life. Always learning, always iterating, adapting those core principles along the way, but never really straying from that fundamental passion.
So, okay, let's wrap this up. We've covered quite a journey. From that kid prodigy with numbers, the paper routes, the pinball machines, all those early hustles.
Building that first bit of capital.
Right, and the strategic move to follow Benjamin Graham, the mentorship, building the partnerships.
Learning to manage other people's money, compounding his stake.
And then The masterstroke, transforming that failing textile mill, Berkshire Hathaway, into this colossal holding company, all fueled by that insurance float.
The engine for growth.
It seems abundantly clear, doesn't it? His wealth wasn't just about picking good stocks. It was this early, incredibly consistent, and remarkably adaptable business acumen. It defined his whole approach.
Absolutely. Which leads to maybe a final thought, a provocative question perhaps for you, the listener. Think about maybe the worst investment you ever made, or a decision that went wrong, a project that seemed like a total failure.
We've all got those.
We all do. Could there be, hiding in plain sight, a Berkshire Hathaway moment in your own life? An opportunity to look at that apparent lost cause differently. Could you radically pivot, repurpose it somehow, leverage some hidden asset, some overlooked cash flow in a completely different way to build something new? What early lessons, maybe from way back, are you still carrying with you? Could one of those be the key to your next big pivot? Something to think about.